we spend a lot of time talking about how to bring in orders to our home cookie bakery businesses. We talk about marketing our cookie businesses and our home bakeries. We talk about all the things we need to be doing on social media, but how do we actually get these orders done? Because you know that when orders start to come in more frequently, when things start to pile up, especially around those holiday and wedding seasons, it starts to get really overwhelming really fast.
Today's video is sponsored by the Cookie Career online course, a course for cookiers who are ready to start or grow their cookie decorating business. For more information on the course, visit sarahgracecookieco.com/cookie career or head to the description below for a direct link to the page.
So how can we create a system and kind of put some proactive things in place to help us get these orders done without wanting to pull our hair out, without being crazy? One of the best things I ever did in my cookie business was implementing a weekly workflow. Now, I know that sounds crazy that you would need a workflow to bake cookies. I know. But when you have a large amount of orders or large orders of huge quantities of cookies coming in, you need a really specific workflow and system to make sure those are getting done and out the door on time. So what is a workflow? A workflow is just a sequence of tasks, a sequence of processes in an order in which they usually need to be completed. So for instance, with sugar cookies, that's usually baking the dough, making the icing, flooding the cookie, doing the details. That's an oversimplification, but basically it's just having a set process, a set order in which you complete the different tasks that go into getting an order out the door. I know there were a lot of times when I would say, oh man, I forgot to photograph that order, or oh, I forgot to take pictures of that order before it went out the door, and now I don't have pictures of it to post on social media. I just have like this random snapshot I took on my phone. Or I knew that I needed to follow up with my customers after they'd received their order, but most of the time by the time I got started on the next orders, I'd completely forgotten to follow up. So placing things like that into your workflow to help you remember to do them and to help you kind of check it off in your brain that it's been done, and having a visual system, which I'm going to show you how I do with Trello today. It's a free online tool that allows you to create these neat little boards. And on each board, there's a card. I've heard of a lot of cookie decorators using these maybe to keep track of their orders or to kind of plan out what each order is going to look like when they're making new custom designs. But it's also a great way to create a workflow. So the way that I broke mine up was with each day of the week and what I was going to try and get done on each day of the week. Now, my child care schedule was different on different days, so I kind of took into account what the child care was going to look like that day, how much free time I would actually have when considering what tasks to put on each day. But this is totally flexible and you can do it exactly how you want in a way that suits your business.
Okay, so I'm inside Trello now. You can sign up for Trello with your email address and a password. It's free. Sign in with your Google account. It's really easy. Once you get inside, you're going to click Create a New Board. And then you can come over here and choose a cute background. I always like to do something kind of frou-frou and pretty, pastel, and call your board whatever you want to. I'm going to say Workflows for today. And there's lots of different information here about how you can do different things with Trello, but I'm just going to be showing you the very basic function of a workflow board today. So once you've created a board, you can then create lists. And inside each list, you can place cards. So for this board, I'm going to do my monthly tasks. I love breaking up tasks in monthly, weekly, daily, and then kind of creating a plan for that from there about how I can get those tasks done. So I'm going to create each of my weeks or each of my lists with monthly, weekly, and daily tasks. And then I'm going to create a list with each day of the week. Thursday and Friday. And I always tried to avoid working on the weekends, but I always ended up working on the weekend. So if you wanted to add a work on the weekend, like a little weekend tab, however you want to set that up. So every week I knew that I needed to make dough. If I didn't have any frozen, then I needed to make some from scratch. I also knew that I needed to make icing, color, and bag icing. I needed to flood cookies usually because most designs involved flooding. Then add details, usually on the next day. I needed to take a really pretty photo shoot picture of my cookies so that I could share them on social media. And usually I would end up doing like a packaging day on the same day that I did the photo shoot. So packaging, pickup, which that would vary from week to week when and where with the pickup. And I'm trying to think of anything else you might need to do in your weekly tasks. Probably schedule social media or like take time to post at some point, share on your stories, things like that. So usually on Monday, my kids would be home with me. So I would try to make dough on those days because my boys love anything to do with dough. They love playing Play-Doh. So if I was being, having a super mom week, I would make some homemade Play-Doh. But usually I just ended up giving them a little wad of cookie dough to play with and giving them their own dough rollers so that they could sit at the kitchen table while I made dough. And sometimes I would make icing on those days, but usually that ended up being Tuesdays. Tuesdays were always my mother-in-law's day when she kept the boys, and so I would do my icing and color and bag it because I liked it to be fresh, and I would flood cookies usually on Tuesday. So that would be my get the work done, knock it out kind of days. And then either on a Wednesday or a Thursday, my mom would usually keep my kids. That was Mimi's day. And so I would add details either on Wednesday or Thursday. Those were kind of interchangeable days. And then usually if my boys were home, I could do a quick little photo shoot. I could kind of give them some playtime or screen time while I did a photo shoot in the kitchen and package those cookies. I used to set it up so that I could have my heat sealer and my bags and stuff on the counter in our living room. My husband built us this like entertainment center that's also a big counter that's like waist high. And so I could package cookies on that counter in the living room while my kids played in the living room floor. It was fantastic. I'm very spoiled with his handiness, but he's really good about fixing stuff that makes our home more functional. So that was nice. And then Fridays usually would be a pickup day. And I would try to do some social media stuff on Friday, try and post some things. So that was kind of my weekly workflow. This is pretty simple to create in Trello. You can customize this for you and your family and how you kind of live your life. Just think about what you're doing each day of the week. Do you have church on Wednesday nights and aren't going to have a lot of time to get things done in the evening? Or do you wake up early on a certain day and need to put certain tasks on certain days? It just seems that having a weekly rhythm is so helpful when it comes to being able to get things done. That's something that people ask me about all the time. The hardest part about having a cookie business really is making time to make the cookies. They're very in demand. People, my cookiepreneurs inside the cookie career class usually aren't having trouble finding orders. Finding orders once you know a few basic marketing strategies like the ones I teach inside Cookie Career, or if you've joined the Sugar Cookie Marketing Facebook, you've learned some good marketing techniques there too. But the time management is the hard part. The finding time between your family obligations and church obligations. And some of y'all, I know you have full time jobs in addition to all that as well. And you want to be able to also run your cookie side hustle. So that's what I teach about a lot in the cookie career course. And what I just like sharing with people is the way that I found ways to make it work. Having an incredible support system is also vital. I have an incredibly supportive family, but if you don't have someone in your life who helps you with childcare, or you don't have someone who builds countertops for you in your living room so that you can package cookies while your kids play, um, then you can still find ways to make time for the things that are important to you with systems like this and with workflows. A podcast that's been really helping me lately is Systemize Your Life with Chelsea Joe. I've been binging that podcast lately and absolutely love it. So, if that's something you're interested in, the work from home tips and strategies for actually getting all the things done, Miss Chelsea Joe dives really deep into how to get things done with kids home, and she's so helpful. So, this is how I set up all that to say. This is how I set up my workflow system in Trello. You can go a lot more in depth than that. You can add pretty pictures and labels and really dive deep into Trello. There are lots of YouTube videos that explain how to use Trello. But this is basically how I.
Okay, I hope that was helpful to you. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. As always, you can get in touch with me here in the YouTube comments or by joining the free Cookiepreneurs Facebook group. There's a link for that in the